Yesterday, we discussed an incredible story in the headlines about Britain's first ever womb transplant, which is being called a new era in fertility treatment.
A 34-year-old woman who had been born without a uterus received the transplant from her older sister and is hoping to begin IVF in the near future.
Other countries such as Sweden and the US have already carried out womb transplant and have led to successful births. One of those women is Amanda Grundell from Utah, who gave birth to a baby girl in 2021 after receiving a donor womb. And she joins us now alongside Dr. Zoe here in the studio. Good morning to you both.
Yes.
Amanda, this is just such a wonderful story to read. You're one of America's first uterus transplant receivers. Can you tell us why you originally first needed a transplant?
Well, I was born without a uterus, which sounds like much like the uterus transplant recipient there in the UK that has had her transplant. So I was born with something called MRKH, and it meant that I had my ovaries, but I didn't have a uterus, and so I was able to have a uterus transplant and then go on to have a little girl.
This is just something that is so life-changing, because I'm presuming that you assumed that you could never have children.
Yeah, that's true. When I found out that I had MRKH, I was told that uterus transplant would likely never be an option in my lifetime. And I was told that I would never be able to have children, and I took that to heart for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And so I really just didn't think that there were very many options for me.
I have to say, I mean, it is remarkable. And so in so many ways, you're one step ahead of us here in the UK. You've mentioned MRKH. Let's just ask our doctor, what is that?
Yeah, so it's, well, the full word is Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome, which is even difficult for me to say. But it's actually a very rare condition that 1 in 5,000 women are born with, where they're born with ovaries that are working, but either no uterus at all or a uterus that's not functional.
Right.
So did you ever consider adoption, Amanda?
I absolutely did. I actually started an adoption process, and the mother decided to parent in the end. And that was something that I'm still passionate about, and I love adoption, and I love that that's an option for people. It just didn't work out for me in that time of my life.
But you never gave up hope, did you, for yourself personally and your journey? At what point did you, and how did you then set the wheels into motion about going about having a transplant for your womb?
Well, I have a friend who also has MRKH, and she had twins via gestational carrier surrogacy, and so she was part of a moms group, a worldwide moms group for MRKH, and she had heard about the study at Cleveland Clinic in the U.S., and so she sent me those details, and I with some encouragement and support, she encouraged me to apply, and I never thought that I would get in Cleveland Clinic. I'm one of what will be 10 women to be part of the transplant trial, and I'm one of probably around 35 in the U.S., and so it was pretty incredible to apply for that and be selected.
You must have been ecstatic when you found out you'd been accepted. How long did you have to wait? Was it a long wait?
Oh yeah, I've been part of the uterus transplant trial since 2016. So I was selected in 2016, and we had many bumps and bumps along the way, and many waits and holds, and then it took me quite some time to get a donor for. Because uterus transplant at Cleveland Clinic uses deceased donor, which is a little bit different than I think what is being done in the UK. It sounds like that is with family. So
it's almost like this path was supposed to happen with you applying and getting accepted, and the delays, because the delays were almost a blessing for you, because then you met your now husband, John. It was like something, after all of the sort of hardship with it, something was aligning, and it worked out incredibly well, didn't it?
Oh yeah, and actually John has been my best friend for for over 20 years now, and so to be in the position, I moved back home to help take care of my mom when she was sick, and when I came back home, he and I started dating we took our friendship to a different level. So it really was, as hard as it was to wait and have those bumps in the road, it really was absolutely the best thing that could have happened to me at the time.
It's just such a good story.
Honestly.
This story is fantastic. Who was your womb donor?
So I actually don't know. I've had a couple of letters that have gone back and forth, and I'm working on, we like to stay pretty, I want them to stay protected, and so I'll reach back out to them, and hopefully something will blossom and we'll have a relationship in the future.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
And that's their family, her family.
Yes.
What was the actual, because we were reading the news yesterday and it said it was a 17-hour surgery. What was the actual procedure like for you?
Yeah, so my surgery, and from what I understand about the surgery there, I think that was two parts to the surgery, the recipient and the donor surgeries, if I'm not mistaken. My surgery for just me took about 14 hours, and there were some minor complications that they worked through, and I came out of surgery and had a very smooth recovery. Not to say that it was easy. I'm definitely thinking of the person that's there in the UK and just sending all my love to her, because I know those early days are very hard. But I had a very smooth recovery, and things went really exceptionally well for me.
I have to say, the whole thing is a medical, I'm going to use the word miracle.
It is?
I know doctors don't use the word miracles, do they? But it is a marvel, isn't it, really, Zoe?
It is a marvel. And, you know, when girls find out that they have this condition, we expect girls' periods to start between the ages of 10 and 15. When that doesn't happen, they go for a scan and find out they have no womb. And, you know, as we just heard there, I think that means that they won't ever be able to carry their own children. So it is a medical marvel, and it's life-changing for these people who are affected. But, of course, it affects people who have severe endometriosis, fibroids, people who lose their womb for other reasons like cancer or through things that happen in childbirth. It's hope for those people as well as potentially in the future, hope for transgender women to be able to carry their own offspring as well.
It's a real milestone, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a real milestone.
It's a landmark.
And obviously we know that this ended in, you know, joy for you. We've got pictures of your little one here. Look at that, there's Grace. Look, absolutely adorable. And am I right by thinking, Amanda, that you're actually planning for your second child right now? Look at her. Oh. She's just gorgeous.
Yes, we are going through infertility treatments for another transfer, and if everything goes well, we'll try again in the next month or so.
Which would be amazing. I mean, just things you didn't think would happen.
Yeah.
And now you're planning. That's just fantastic.
The impossible is now possible.
You must have been really excited. I know that in America they don't carry much British news, but this is a story that's so close to your heart. When you heard it yesterday, were you kind of like applauding the surgeons as we were?
Yeah, I'm very excited that it came to the UK, because I know that it's been a struggle to get it there, taken a long time to get it there through COVID and through all of that. And I've done, you know, some of my stories have been in the UK, just trying to make it a little bit more, just to advocate for uterus transplant. So to see that somebody has it there, and to remember I always reminisce anytime anybody gets a uterus transplant of what that was like for me, and remember what those days were like. And yeah, I'm so excited for her, and I hope the absolute best for her, and I hope her recovery is going well.
It's so nice to see you on the other side of it, and how positive you are.
Dr. Zoe, is there a high level of success in this?
Well, there have been roughly about 100 of these types of transplants so far across the world, and roughly about 50 babies born, so that's fairly successful. The operation that took place in the UK actually took place in February, and she's doing very, very well. She's having menstrual periods, and the doctors who are looking after her say they reckon there's about an 80% chance that she will be able to have a successful pregnancy with the embryos that her and her husband froze prior to having the procedure.
What would you say, Zoe, to anybody watching at home now, thinking, do you know what, this is sounds like what I need. This is, you know, something that I'm really interested in. What would your advice be?
Well, for people who have infertility purely because they don't have a womb or they don't have a womb that functions, then the best port of call would be to research the UK womb transplant charity. That's who's funded this particular operation. It cost £25,000, which went to the NHS. All the doctors and medical team gave their time for free. It's amazing. So, yes, if you think you're somebody who's in that position, they will be the best port of call because they're hoping to offer this to other people in the near future and probably more and more as time goes on if they can get the funding available.
It's great. Thank you, Dr. Zoe. Amanda, thank you so much for spending some of your early morning with us.
Yes.
We wish you and lovely baby Grace all the best.
Yes, and good luck with going again. I love good news.
Yeah, do you know what? This is one of the happiest stories we've done.
It doesn't happen often, but I love good news. Lovely to meet you, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
And you too.
And thank you very much, Zoe. Thank you.